Joining us now from our nation's capital to walk us through the new results of our brand new Bloomberg Politics National Slice Poll, Doug Usher, the Doug Usher, Managing Director of Purple Insights. So, Doug, educated folk, what did we find?
Well, educated folks right now are supporting Hillary over Trump by a pretty fair margin. We have her winning by over 20 points. And right now, among white college-educated voters, it's a group the Republicans have won every election since they've measured such things. And he's trailing by 11 points. So he may be giving up a segment of the electorate the Republicans have always won for the first time in recorded history.
Doug, break down in terms of Democrats and Republicans and how they're feeling about their candidates. Absolutely.
So what we see is a consolidated vote right now among Democrats. We've got over 90% of college-educated Democrats supporting Hillary Clinton as their nominee. But then when you take a close look at Republicans, among this segment, you don't see consolidation. Support is at 75%, and partisans really need to be supporting him at 85 or 90% for him to win overall, but especially among this demographic. Again, a demographic that Obama won by 2 points last time, but if you take a look this time, you see Trump down by a fair bit. I mean, the real question for them to be considering is not whether they can make up the numbers among those without a college graduate. That would be extremely difficult. But what can they do to cut down these margins? Because right now it's very troublesome for that campaign, and they've got to do something to change that dynamic.
And do you think it's because of Trump's issue positions as compared to Mitt Romney, or stylistic? What would be turning off the college-educated Republicans and others who voted for Romney but are now supporting Clinton?
I think it's stylistic, and I think it's policy. And I think another dramatic finding that we had inside this poll is just the huge divisions that we're seeing now within the white electorate. So if you take a look at white men and white women, you see a typical gender gap. Where white men, Trump is leading by a point, but among white women, he's losing by over 20 points. I think the real problem for him is when you compare it to what we're seeing in the electorate overall. If you take a look at the Pew results that came out just a week ago, you see that white men without a college degree are supporting Trump by 37%. If you take a look at white women, they're supporting Hillary by 31 points. That difference on education of 68 points, when you look at gender and education, is something that's unprecedented and we've never seen before. And that division, actually, among white voters is something I think people are missing right now as they take a look at divisions, accurately across race and gender. But there's actually some huge fissures going on among white voters that I think are worth taking a close look at, and education is a good place to understand that fault line.
And Doug, we tested the three people who are most talked about as potential running mates for Donald Trump, Gingrich, Christie, and Pence, with this college-educated group. What did we find there?
Well, I mean, the question right now is what is good in these picks for Trump among these voters? And frankly, there are only two people that are almost as unpopular as Donald Trump in this crop. And that's Chris Christie and Newt Gingrich. And in fact, if you were to go and take a list of people and say, who are the only people we could find that are just as unpopular as Hillary Clinton, the answer would be Chris Christie and Newt Gingrich. Having said that, they both have appeal within the Republican Party and to consolidate votes. I think a real question right now, strategically, is are they going to concede this part of the electorate? Something needs to change if they're not. If they are going to concede it, then the other question is, can they win by building up numbers among the rest of the electorate, those without a college degree? I think that's really threading a difficult needle, because those are folks that are less likely to turn out, more difficult to communicate messages around turnout with. And so you don't just need big numbers with them, you need to have a high turnout. So one would expect from a strategy standpoint that Trump should be looking at numbers like this, and his campaign should be seeing what they can do with the VP pick and the convention and moving forward to try to bring down these deficits, because that's really essential if he's going to actually put together a winning coalition.
Doug Usher, slicing it purple. Doug, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, guys.
We'll have more slices coming up soon. Coming up next.